Dilemma. A situation in which a difficult choice has to be made between two or more alternatives, especially equally undesirable ones.
Ouais, mais peut-être pas le choix de couper avec 4 pouces.
Ça, c'est grand, ça.
Ben, 4 pouces maintenant.
Parce que même si tu coupes à 24, tu n'auras pas assez de bas, c'est ça, tu as créé la forme de la vie.
Ce qui touche ça de la plaque dans le fond aussi.
Ouais.
It was time to start working on the new keel box, and we were strongly inclined to retain a significant portion of the original keel box. Why? Simply put, it did possess valuable qualities. However, the original keel box created significant obstacles. We also had to think ahead to how we would maintain the keel over the years.
Ici. Le stopper était 31 pouces. C'est le morceau intérieur à travers le 31 pouces. À partir de là, je n'ai pas besoin de HMW en bas. Ça, c'est mon lieu de bonté. Si jamais vous arrêtez de quoi, il faut descendre la quille, il faut l'enlever, ce qu'on fait. Parce que comme il est là, la partie d'en haut, là, 4 pouces et demi, elle ne passe pas le bord. Notre nouveau rouge, là, il faut faire un peu de coupe.
Pourquoi?
Faire un carré égal ici.
La remettre level. Mais ça, c'est à cause du tabernacle, c'est tout, hein?
The roof is sloping forward to give a path for the water to drain down the cabin. The tabernacle needs to be horizontal as it will be supporting the mast.
Total, ça va avoir 89 pouces et demi. Puis on a 98. J'ai 4 pouces et quart de poulie. Ouais, ça veut dire qu'il va falloir faire attention.
On va quasiment avoir un stopper en hauteur. T'sais, on a un stopper pour pas qu'elle descende plus bas, mais il faudrait avoir un stopper pour pas qu'elle monte plus haut.
Parce que si elle monte trop haut, elle se met à flagosser. Il va avoir la crise.
Ouais. Fait que ça veut dire que ça, c'est la place où on devrait avoir un genre de opening juste pour être capable de faire la maintenance de la ligne ou ce que, tu sais, avoir un buffer.
Cette ligne-là, tu parles, là?
Ouais.
OK.
After a lot of brainstorming session and countless sleepless nights, a plan was finally made taking everything into consideration. And so it began, starting with cutting the aft section of the original keel box, which won't be required for the new keel design. Pierre forgot to remove the UHMW inside the keel pit before cutting, and that's very toxic. Yeah, like my eyes were burning and I was wondering why. And it was just from like the fume from the UHMW. That's very strong. So guys, don't forget to remove UHMW before you start cutting. And that's what we did right after. We also decided to keep part of the keel box as a container for safety in case of water infiltration. By cutting down these walls, Pierre would also be able to reach the bottom of the hull and prep the area to weld the plate and seal the future container. Pierre started feeling sick on that day, but regardless, decided to power through the following day to finish welding the plate.
He finished the job, but the cost was steep. What started as a sniffle and a scratchy throat quickly escalated.
Jennifer getting ready to go underneath the boat, doing some grinding today.
It's really big.
You and your 105 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
You're the beast.
So, still need to do some buffing, maybe some bar welding, but almost done.
Turns out Pierre hadn't just picked up the common cold. He managed to acquire a trifecta of respiratory infections. For almost a month, the boat work was on hold. Eventually, Pierre's condition started improving, and with this, work started and progress was made again. We couldn't find U channels exactly the width we needed. So we created our own. A slight curve appeared during the welding process, and to fix it, we decided to heat the steel before applying force, hoping it would do the trick and rectify the bend.
Quench time. There's a small bend in it, just a tiny little bit. But since we're using a slide system, it has to be parallel, perfectly parallel. Right now there's just a tiny bit, maybe a little bit more than a 1/8 of an inch, 3/16 at most at one place. So we have to get rid of that lump, because if we don't get rid of it, when we bring the keel down, it's going to jam at that place because it's going to be running on UHMW. So hopefully it worked. Perfect.
Happy?
Yep.
We still had a second U channel to create. We used the same technique to rectify the curve that appeared, but we were not successful this time.
So we still have a 1/4 of an inch or 3/16 of play. So I'm going to try to make some small slot. Try to cut like this and bring the end. I might just do every second one for now. And then we see how much gap we've got and see if it's worth doing it. It's not very important because it's the top of the box. That's where it's supposed to feed, so I'm not too worried about it, even if it's not perfectly straight, because the top of the box has no support. It's not stopping the keel from going back and forth. It's actually even better because it's going to be open, so it might be easier to feed the keel in. But still want to try to make it square.
And it worked.
Ça, c'est pas grave ici parce que mettre la serre, ça va fermer.
Ouais.
Tu sais, je vais enlever ces morceaux-là.
C'est rien que le bas qu'il y en a. No worries. We found a way to slide it all the way down.
After that, we have to cut the roof. Be able to put the two angle iron on each side, support the keel. Oh, it doesn't buckle down. It's pretty loaded right now because when I cut the piece at the bottom, it went boing. Well, that's it, no turning back. I'm gonna cut this to remove that post because we don't need it no more. It's being replaced by this. And there's a big plate that's gonna go on top. So we're gonna have to cut this. We're gonna cut the box here at 33 inches. The water level is at 24, so that gives us all that room. I hope we're doing the right thing. This is the most stressful I've been since I started working on that boat. Hopefully it's gonna work. Gotta find where that little pinhole is. One tiny, tiny, tiny pinhole. So yesterday I put about that much water in it. And this morning it was down just a bit. Just a bit. So there is a pinhole. Because inside the keel it's wet. And we definitively have to find that pinhole. But it means that my weld is not good. I gotta fix it.
This was a successful test.
What?
No leak.
How old are you? This is the new opening for the Tabernacle. We had to make it a little wider at this place because that's where the old base plate was for the mast. Now we're going to weld a piece of angle iron on both sides of a 2.5 inch by 3/16 so we can have a good support for the Tabernacle. And then we're going to weld the stainless back to the angle iron, and then we're just going to wait for the Tabernacle to come here. But before that we have to drop the keel in, because when this is all sealed, that's it.
It's with mixed emotion today that I'm sending my truck back to the company. With all what happened in the last couple of months, we're falling behind so much that there's no way I can manage to work on the boat and still work part-time at Trademark. So I want to take this opportunity to thank people at Trademark. Tom Strauss, manager, owner that hired me, and Noel and Dylan, for whom I worked for last few years, where these guys are extremely knowledgeable and very nice to work with. All the guys that I had the opportunity to work with at Trademark, so many good workers, so many good like friends today, that it's gonna be a tough time for me. Stopping work like this, it's gonna be tough. It has to be positive. We decided it would be a go on the boat full time because we still want to splash early spring or June next year, so we don't have too much time to waste. So thank you very much to Trademark and to all the people out there. It's been a really good go.
So the Keel Box, it's been very stressful, and gotta say the most stressful part that we have done so far on the boat, and probably the most stressful part that's going to be done on that boat. It was a major structural change, a lot of implication, financial, time-wise. We're talking months.
Cutting the boat for one thing, making a hole in the boat, a boat that we've been talking about, making it seal all the way around, cutting a box in the boat was unbelievable. So it was a really tough going. Still not finished, but at least now we have a good structure. We did all the testing, everything seems to be fine, but very stressful. It's
like the night before, Pierre had to cut the top of the roof and remove the compression post. That night he didn't sleep because the only thing he could think of was like what it would do on the
people have to understand that as you're building the boat, everything gets together. It gets really nice and tight. So when you're cutting sometime, it just pulling, it goes trying to take the normal position because it's got memory. It still has memory. So every time you cut something, there's always a stress. But we're lucky when we cut the plate on each side of the post, nothing moved. When you cut the post, nothing moved because we had good bracing everywhere on the inside. But it's still really stressful. We hope that everything is going to be working the way it's supposed to be working, but we're only going to know when we're in the water.
So what's left now on that Keel Box? As you probably saw on the image, we have the two U channels. So those are the structure. The box itself at the bottom is sealed. So that's done. The shape of the keel have been cut in the bottom of the hull. Now what's coming up?
The UHMW. So on each side of the channel, we're going to put UHMWs in order to have the keel slide up and down very easily. We still have to weld anchor point where we're going to have the 4-to-1 cable attached underneath the Tabernacle and on top of the keel itself.
We have the wall, let's say
the finishing wall on the inside.
What else coming up after we're done with the Keel Box?
Chain plate.
Yeah.
Chain plate has to be modified. We have to change the location of the chain plate, modify. There used to be 3 sets of chain plate. Now we're going to 2, so we have to reinforce the inside where it's going to be welded.
The Tabernacle?
Tabernacle has to be built and probably tested also. We don't know. So we're going to take the Tabernacle after it's done, bring it to Claco. When he modified the mast for us, we're going to be able to try it dry on land, make sure it works good before we try to install it. Because if something happened, then we can modify while it's out there. But if it's installed on the boat and the mast comes along and we can't modify it, we're going to be kind of in a bad trouble.
Yeah. And then, also we did receive this week our hydro vane. So we're going to talk about it more in detail later on and why we chose that company. But regardless, we will have to do kind of
bracket,
yeah,
support bracket, so we can mount it on the swim platform at the back, or the sugar, how do you call it in English?
Sugar scoop, just one.
Sugar scoop. And so we have to build a bracket, find a system that's going to be easy for us to install, not too much in our way. The swim platform, to me it's a swim platform, is getting really loaded now with the ladder, with stuff like this, so we want to be able to have a nice and easy path into the boat still. So a little bit of drawing to do and fabrication there.
And I guess the most, I don't know, would you say it's the most complicated part, the companionway?
No, it's gonna be time consuming because we have to do a lot of modification to the boat again. The side of the door, the companionway, the way we want to install it, the way we want to load it and opening and closing. So yes, that's gonna take a while to figure it out. We have some idea.
And then maybe the last item on the outside would be the hard dodger.
Yeah, but
Before we have to remove like the shelter.
hard dodger is gonna be done in the spring probably.
Oh, okay.
We won't have time to do it this winter because we also have to clean the inside and paint it at least once before we get our first inspection. So that's going to take a while also.
And then it's insulation and...
We have an issue right now also with the heat. Today it's nice and easy in the morning, but at 12 or 1 o'clock it's going to be 40-45 degrees in the boat. So it's almost impossible to be working or welding. So we have to do everything early in the morning. Since we're in a residential area too, we cannot start making noise before 7 or 8 o'clock. I don't even want to do it before 8 o'clock. So we have good neighbor right now. We don't want to piss them off. So we're going to try to do between 8 and 1-2 o'clock at maximum, and when it gets too hot we're gonna have to quit. And at night it takes so long to cool down inside of the boat, it's not even worth it to try to do it after lunch, after supper, because yesterday at 9 o'clock was still over 40 degrees in the boat. So
yeah,
right now it doesn't feel too bad, but it's already 35 degrees, and it's early in the morning.
The shelter acts as a greenhouse, so it's just, it's nice because it's protected, but it makes it very hot during summer. So I think that's pretty much it.
Yep, you'll be busy for the next couple of months.
Yeah.
It's a big rush now.
Bye.